Hi, this is Dom. Welcome to my podcast, bringing on a Halloween special edition. And I've interviewed a lot of people talking about the creepiest places they've investigated or the creepiest experiences they've had throughout their careers. I also wanted to share mine. There's been a lot of them in the past few years, and I was finding it very hard to find one specific location. Talking with Shane, I was like, "Oh, Bobby Mackey," and then talking to Samantha or Mark. I would go back to, oh my goodness, the Haunted Mansion with Steve. The asylum where we live here in Sherbrooke. There's so many places, Letchworth Village, Penhurst, but to me, the creepiest place I've investigated, the creepiest experience that I've had throughout my years is a private home that we did about a year and a half ago, a year ago to this day. Actually, it was last October, and it was me and my private team, Quebec Underground, and we it was a private home about 25 minutes from where I live, in a very rural area, in an old house in the middle of a big field with two old barns, one that is totally crooked, about to fall or to totally creepy, old abandoned barn. So the setting was very horror-like movie, very creepy place. But the house was over 150 years old. The owner of the house is a guy about 30 years old, and he was scared to death. When he called us, at first he was afraid that us going there, would make things worse, which is always a possibility. And so we told him, we'll do the best we can. So we got there and get out of the car, and the guys went upstairs. We started talking to the owner of the house. He explained to us what was going on. He had a baby, his wife was very, very scared. He was actually scared, and they were doing renovations, tearing out the walls, and they found old newspapers and stuff. And some members, some plumbers didn't want to go back. They were scared to death. They felt attacked upstairs. And the same thing with his wife. And his wife felt strangled in bed. So and he claims, you go there and you go like, oh my goodness, this is serious stuff. But sometimes, you go to a place like that and nothing happens, and then you go back another time and then you'll catch something. But this time around, it didn't take long for us to, for everything to go crazy, and so we got there, did a little walkthrough for about 20 minutes, and then I got back in the basement to get my gear. As I'm coming upstairs, I can feel the energy exchange. My teammates are in a panicky mode, which is totally not their style. The owner of the house is crying, going totally crazy. He lost control of himself. He's like, okay, now it's never gonna go away. And then I didn't understand why. But the claim was that before everything went down the drain and started going crazy, there was always a smell of sulfur that emanated from the house, and then things got crazy. So by going in the basement and coming upstairs and seeing everybody like in a panicky mode, I didn't at first, catch it. Oh my goodness, there's that smell. Until my teammates told me, Dom, smell. And I smell it, smelled like sulfur. And I was like, what the hell happened? Is it plumbing problem or something? And, but by the way, in about 2 minutes, the whole mood had changed. I was like, it's more than just plumbing problem. First of all, the smell was awful. It smelled like sulfur and death. And the owner was panicking, and everybody was. But the fact that I wasn't there when it hit them, I was less, I was less taken aback by that smell, and I was more in control. So I was able to kind of calm everybody down and say, okay, now we're going to do ghost box session. And we started doing ghost box session. The K2 was spiking near where the exact spot where the plumber felt attacked. And we're actually in the room, where his wife was also strangled. So we're like, okay, now everything is going crazy. We heard growls, we heard a lot of stuff. And the owner said, okay, guys, I'll leave you here. I can't stay, and just leave you guys, do what you do, and we'll keep in touch. I had his cell phone. So I said, okay, so I'll text you back later on today. So we kept investigating, and we didn't know much about the history of the house. We didn't know that people lived there for, old family was there for the first 100 years of the house, and we knew about their old pictures, in the basement of the old family, and I wanted to explore, so I went to the old barn, and we did an EVP, a ghost box and EVP session. The ghost box session, I heard a woman's voice, kind of, like a mother protecting her child, like help, and I said, how many children do you have? It said six. What is your name? Florida. I said, no, I'm asking you your name. And then again, it said Florida. I was like, okay. And we kept asking questions. And after a while, it calmed down and it didn't respond anymore. So we got back into the house. And I was so like, okay, so how many children do they have? By looking at the picture, I thought there were like 8 children. But so I called the guy and I said, do you know the picture, if it's all their childs? Or he said, yeah, I think there's 6 children. The other 2 are cousins. And then the wife and the husband. I said, by any chance, do you know the names? Yeah, the names are on the picture, but the picture was so old. So I bent over and I looked closer. And the name of the woman was Florida. I was like, holy shit. Can be. It's just, I heard it like twice, clear as day, on the ghost box. So otherwise, it was sweeping a station playing Florida Georgia Line. There's no woman's voice. And I answered on cue, what's your name? Florida. I said, no, I'm asking you your name. It said Florida, like, hey, I just told you. So what part of Florida don't you understand? So I'm like, wow, okay, 6 children, Florida. So I went back in the barn, and then I just felt that, like somebody was hiding there, like hiding. And I'm like, okay, she used to live in that house. Now she's hiding in a barn. So there must be something very aggressive in the house to have them and the children hiding, in an old abandoned barn. So I'm like, okay, let's go back inside. So we went back, and we didn't catch much, For the rest of the day, it was very quiet. So we called the guy and said, okay, when you left, things calmed down. I got great evidence of the woman that seems to be hiding in the barn. So we'll see what we review the evidence, and we'll get back to you. So the next morning, he called me and said, Dom, I didn't sleep. I feel the presence is still there. And can you help me again? I said, yeah, you know what? We'll come today, but we'll bring a medium that we know, that we used to, we worked with him like 3 or 4 times before in the past when things got real heavy. So we called Mr. Genina and we said, we need your help. So he said, don't tell me anything. Just go to your house, drive with you guys. And so we're driving to the house with Mr. Genina in the back seat, and he's telling us what he thinks. And it was exactly, an old house with a barn, and I feel a presence in the barn. So I'm like, okay, this guy is totally awesome. It's like, okay, we get there and didn't want to go inside the house first. He wanted to go to the barn. So we did what we do with Mr. Gilina is we investigate, and he tells us what he thinks afterwards or before. So it's like sometimes our evidence matches what he feels and sometimes it doesn't. So then we keep trying to piece the puzzle together. So everything he said matched what we caught the day before, but we didn't catch anything on that day. He said, no, they're here, but they used all their energy yesterday to talk to you, and now they're scared that you're going to make that thing in the house more angry. So we said, okay, we'll go back in the house and we'll come back later to talk to you. So we went back in the house, and when we got inside the house, the presence was not as strong as the day before, but it still felt like something was watching us. So it kept hiding from us. We went to the second floor. It stayed on the first floor, and then we heard footsteps and stuff. So I'm like, okay, so it doesn't want to communicate with us. So Mr. Gina made it clear, you're going to have to leave, because you hurt the family, and now you're scaring them even after they're dead. So it's not your place anymore. You have to leave. So Mr. Gina was able to help that spirit leave that place. And the minute he did, we did an EVP session, and we caught a woman's voice again. And it sounded to me that it was the exact same voice that we caught in the barn. So, and he said, it seems to me everything is gone. The bad energy, the spirit of an old man that Mr. Gina felt was there. We never were really able to catch a good EVP or a ghost box response the day before, besides growling and stuff like that. So we didn't know if it was an old man or whatever. But and it's hard to, when you talk to a spirit, was he old? Was it, does age matter at this point? So I'm like, okay. So he said it's all gone. And so we were there for 2 days, So we left. And the owner was so happy. I remember he wanted to pay us. I said, no, 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 we do it for free. And he gave us like sausages. He had a barn with animals besides the old abandoned barn. So he gave us sausages and stuff like that, and bacon. So we laughed. And to this day, I'm still in touch with this guy, and nothing happened. He never felt threatened in his house again. So we're like, okay, so we help them, and that's why we do what we do. That's the basic of it all, to help people. But that investigation took, I don't know if you've seen the movie The Conjuring, with when at one point Lauren says that every investigation takes a little piece of her. Well, it's the same thing when we have that kind of interaction, and aggressive interaction. It takes a piece of you, and it did take a big piece of me, because it took me about, I would say, 3 months and a half before I was able to gather the energy to do another paranormal investigation. I felt totally exhausted. After that investigation, during the whole holiday season, I was very aggressive, very on edge. I had blood pressure problems. My health was going down. I had to go to the hospital to get pills, for my blood pressure. I'm not saying that everything is because of that investigation, but the coincidence is that it started right at that moment. And also, with road trip we did, me and Steve and MJ, we went to West Virginia, and we investigated Trans-Allegheny Asylum. We did Moundsville Penitentiary, Letchworth Village, Gettysburg, all in like 3 days. Totally crazy road trip with no sleep. So it might have been like a physical exhaustion with mental exhaustion, but I was done for about 2-4 months. And now I'm starting to feel, because of DDP yoga, in better shape physically, and also mentally ready to go back and keep helping people. We did a few paranormal private owned investigations the last few weeks, but that one took a big piece of me, and that was awesome, because we helped the guy. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. We helped the guy. I'm happy about it. Even though I felt totally drained afterwards. To me, what matters is that we're helping. That, like my friend Shane Pittman says, at the end of the day, if you're not helping people, why the hell are you doing this? At first, when you start out the thrill seeking, the big first paranormal experiences that you have, you're like, oh my God, that's so cool, and you film it, and then you post it. I still post stuff on my YouTube channel because I want to share my experiences with you guys, but at the end of the day, the best experiences are helping people. And helping spirits too, not just people, but I mean, they're people too. And if you talk to them the same way you would talk to a friend, to me, you have a good chance to, even if it's an aggressive presence, if you're aggressive leads to more aggression, and it's never going to settle down. It's like two people screaming at each other. So I think that being respectful and being calm, and trying to be reasonable. If it doesn't want to collaborate with you or talk to you, then don't push too hard, Don't provoke. Go back a week after, a day after. Sometimes, you'll get a reaction because they know that you respected them. And sometimes they just don't want to talk to you for a reason or another. Bring another teammate. Bring somebody new. Bring somebody that will change the atmosphere, or somebody. If you like, my team is 4 guys. Bring a woman. Maybe you'll feel more comfortable talking to a woman than they'll feel talking to 4 guys. Especially 4 guys that are like around 6 foot. 250 pounds, like 4 football players. So maybe they'll feel more comfortable talking to a lady. So try a different approach, try different ways. And, it never hurts to try different things, different methods. And doing it respectfully. And to me, that's the bottom line, believe that. That's all. That's why I do it. I try to help people, try to help the spirits move along, and feel comfortable where they are. Stop scaring people if they are in a house where people live. And that, to me, that's what matters, helping them, helping the spirits, and helping people at the same time. So hopefully, I still have a few more interviews to conduct. And the Halloween special will be posted this Monday on Halloween night. So, hey, Fred, say hi to everybody.
Hi.
So my little son, is going to take over someday as the new little ghost hunter, Fred Ghost Hunter. So have a good night, everybody, and talk to you soon.